Okay, so now that we have a lot of data to look at, the key thing we want to do is to channelize our view of what we're looking at. This is great, but it shows everything. And while that's important, in order to really prove ROI, a lot of the traffic that you get, you need to channelize to figure out, is my direct traffic profitable or is my search? How does my search compare to my paid? In order to do that, Google Analytics has this concept of advanced segments. So what we're going to do is go through a case study or an example in order to show you how to use advanced segments. So if you remember on here, this big bump in traffic was because I was testing a StumbleUpon campaign. And so what we're looking at now is all different types of traffic. And what we're going to do is you can actually come into here and use what they call default segments. Right now we're looking at all, but what if we only want to look at let's look at search traffic. So you notice that that big bump flattens out because StumbleUpon is not search traffic. So now we're looking at all of this data from the number of visitors and page views and average time on site in a filter or a segment that's just search traffic. And you can compare search traffic versus, let's do search traffic versus direct traffic. I don't know that I get a lot of direct traffic, but this will tell you. Um, So, so here we are, we're looking at site usage. Search traffic, we have quite a few more than direct. Because of that, we obviously have a lot more page views. But you can notice that the pages per visit is about the same. If I come over here and I look at the average time on site, it's about the same. Bounce rate's about the same. But what this does is it's showing you is you can compare different types of traffic against one another. And this works across the board. This isn't just on the dashboard. We can come into the goals or the visitors or the traffic sources and look at all of this data based off that data. So now those are the standard out of the box. You can do the comparison or you can do one at a time, but it also offers this idea of the custom segments. So let me clear the filters, and again what we want to do is take a look at just this section here. Okay, so in order to do that, I know this was StumbleUpon traffic. What we can do, in fact, if we came down here and we saw this big spike and we said, wow, where could that be coming from? If we look at our traffic sources, if you didn't know what was happening, you can come in here and say, oh, look, the largest percentage of traffic is StumbleUpon. And so that would explain, possibly this big jump. But how can we be sure? And this campaign that I tested, was it worth it or not? So let's figure that out. The first thing we want to do is come over to Advanced Segments. We click on the Advanced Segments section, and we are going to create a new custom segment. So you click on this, and what it does, it's a visual builder in order to figure out what it is you want to see. So the way you do it is we're going to do a simple one just to make it simple. And I encourage you to play around because there is a lot that you can do with this. It all depends on what type of data you want to see. So in this case, I want to see just StumbleUpon traffic. How do I do it? Well, StumbleUpon is a traffic source. So if I come into traffic sources and I come in, these are all different dimensions, which is just a fancy way of saying different categories. So I'm going to take a look at this source. I'm going to drag the source over into this section here. And so now we have our dimension in here. Now we have a condition. A condition lets you put, it contains, does not contain, starts with, does not. This is all the logic to figure out. Maybe I wanted to remove all StumbleUpon. Right now I want to match exactly to StumbleUpon. So I want my source to match, and then you put in value. The great news is this is gonna autofill as you start typing. So I'm gonna put in StumbleUpon, and the good news about this is if I chose the wrong dimension, this wouldn't show StumbleUpon, so I know that I chose the wrong thing. So if I happen to put campaign in there, StumbleUpon's not a campaign, it's a type of source traffic. So what we do is we put that. I'm going to choose StumbleUpon. Now you even have a test button where if I do test segment, the segment's empty. So that's okay. Let's put StumbleUpon here. We're going to create the segment. Okay, so now we have a whoops, I've saved it differently. We'll come back to the dashboard, and instead of doing all visitors, I'm going to just do the stumble. I'm going to choose all, unselect that, choose apply, so it's just stumble upon traffic. And now we're just looking. You'll notice that there's a huge bounce rate, right? That's expected. The way you do paid stumble upon is people are cycling through, and there's going to be a lot. Because there's a high bounce rate, and because of the way stumble upon works, it's a very small time on site. People look at the home page, or they just kind of move on to the next one. I expect it to be a high percentage of paid new visitors because these are all new people that I was paying for. And so I had loaded the homepage as the main stumble. And don't worry if you don't know StumbleUpon. This is just one example on a traffic source, but you can do this with anyone. A few of the people have started to click around, roughly 5% started to take a look at the software, which tells me that people who are in this category might be more interested in software. And so everything that I looked now that we're in this segmentation of just StumbleUpon traffic will all be through here. So I can take a look at the pages they looked at, but what I'm most interested in is goals. So I paid money in order to have my site go through. I think I paid $25 for this traffic. And so what did that equate to? Again, everything on the ROI side is I have a cost and I have an input. An input in this is a goal conversion. So for my $25 of spend, I had 3 people sign up to my opt-in list. It's a very small conversion rate. I don't expect a big one. So as a marketer, I might think, well, if I paid $25 and I had 3 signups, that's roughly $8 per signup. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, this is where you have to understand the value of your customers. There's the old adage that an email subscriber is worth $1 per month, and if I were being one of those guys who market all the time to people, then maybe this is worth it. To me, that seems pretty expensive, so I'm either going to have to make some changes to my website if I decided to run that traffic source again. The key thing is I would never know how many people that I got unless I was able to track that. And so that's, if I can instill one thing, is you have to set up everything when you do campaigns, whether it's paid or organic, to track everything and the results that happen on your website so that you can make decisions on whether that was a good use of your time or money or not. And so that's how we do the basic advanced segmentation, and we'll do some more examples as well.